Today we're going to talk about the front page. And when I mean the front page, I'm not talking, sometimes we use the term front page to talk about the entirety of your home page, which would include, you know, things that are throughout your entire site, like your buttons and menu, search bar and sidebar, and slideshow. Slideshow is part of just the homepage, but typically when we say homepage or front page, we're talking about the whole thing. But today, when we're talking about front page, I'm just focusing on the area of your homepage where the promoted items would go. So technically everything under what would be in the body of your homepage. So yeah. And then we're also going to talk about the publishing options, which are similar, but they are used for other pages or lists that are similar to this front page list. So I'm going to go ahead and let's actually jump into promoting additional stuff. So you obviously see I have these two events already promoted. These are events that belong to my own league. As far as stuff that you can promote to your front page, if it is content that belongs to your own league, you can promote anything except for slideshow items. So yeah, if you have a committee, a position, an article, an event, a regular page, all of those can be promoted to the front page. So all of these different types of things. Again, the only thing that can't be is the slideshow items. And then when it comes to subscribed content that does not belong to your league, we can promote to the front page articles and action alerts. So as long as you are subscribed to that league's action alerts or articles, you'll see this option to promote to the front page when you hover over whatever that item is. And then as far as like what this is called, we call this like the context menu. I often refer to it as the little cog that appears when you hover over this, but we see this with all of the different content, not just the subscribed stuff. So let's go ahead and test it out by promoting this to the front page. And the system will automatically refresh the page for you at that point. You can go back and promote additional items. But you'll notice once you have something promoted and after that refresh, you'll see that the option now is to demote since it is promoted already. So just promote one more thing. And now let's head back home to check that out. Okay, so the natural order of things within MyLO as far as lists go, the list order is naturally going to be whatever is newer and fresher will sit at the top. And that date is the creation date. So the date that the content was created, as opposed to if you have an event that has a certain date, an event date, the system is not looking at the event date. It's always looking at the creation date when that content was created. So we often will get asked, like with my example events here, how can I make sure to have them in the specific order I'd like to see them? Maybe you want to have the order as I have it now, where obviously these are dates in the past, but as if we were acting as if we were in July of 2022, we have the most nearest event posted at the top, and then you want to have the most future event down below, or vice versa. What we recommend to easily change this order is what we call the manage front page items. So back up here in the administrator league menu, we have manage front page items. And so this is the quickest way to rearrange your items. So let's say, again, I want to have my 2023 event show up ahead of that 2022 event. Then I just make the change with the grabby handles, and you do have to save the order. When it comes to saving an order, that disrupts the natural order of the system where the most recent stuff will always sit at the top. It's now observing a custom order that you have set. So anything that newly gets promoted to the front page will just kind of be sitting at the bottom. And at that point, it would then be something that you'd have to move up to the top if you'd want to see that at the top there. We can test that out actually. Any questions so far? Because I feel like I'm kind of going a little fast here. I see Jennifer's hand.
So highlighting, is that where you get the box around?
Yes. Yeah, and I probably should have shown what that looks like before we save a custom order. So I'm jumping back to my home page after I've saved my new order of front page items. When it comes to highlighting an item, like Jennifer said, it is going to give you that outline. So let's take a look. I'm on a purple and gold site, so I get the gold outline. Red and blue sites get the red outline. When you have a custom order saved, the highlight only does one function. It gives you that box around it. If you, let's actually go back and I'll show what it will do. So if we go back to manage front page items, and I want to go back to the way that the system actually orders things, we reset to default, and then let's come back to the home page. And actually, I think we could see on the previous page that the highlighted item went up, but here we obviously see it does move it to the top of the list. So when you do not have a custom order saved, then highlight does two things. It gives you the box and it prioritizes the item in the list. You got the same, yeah, you have the same option to highlight for subscribed items and your own, and it does the same thing. Mary Jo.
Well, I'm a little confused because I've never had that, or at least I've never had that experience. Typically what I do is I create the event usually and, change it so it goes in the order of when it's going to be coming up. And then that's a time that I also highlight it, but it doesn't move it.
You might have a custom order saved. And so
Okay,
that's,
I just don't remember doing that.
yeah, it could be something, once you have a custom order saved, it could be something that you just leave there and you don't ever reset back to default.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that, but maybe it's something we set up way at the beginning. I have no idea.
It could be, yeah, it definitely could be just a setting that is in place, and it won't behave the typical way as far as when you promote items or when you highlight something, but it doesn't make it not work.
Yeah, I just highlight it to show that it's an event. So it's one way of trying to highlight it,
differentiate it from the rest. Yeah, yeah. And then one other thing too to point out in the manage front page items list, the event date is listed as a pair to the creation date, or which is the submitted date there. So like I was explaining earlier, the submitted date or the creation date is what is naturally being used as the way to order these things. And so having the event date here will help you if you are hoping to rearrange these items however you like. Another thing to point out on this page is the set number of visible items. So this is just asking you how many promoted items do you want to have on your front page. Right now we have it set to 10, which is just the default. So as soon as you click save order and you have it set to 10, you're limiting the promoted list to 10. So if you reach 11, that you'll still see it here on this page where you're managing it, but on the actual home page, you won't see that 11th item since it's limited. but you do have the ability to take that up to 30 if you do have a custom order saved. Any questions about that? Mary Jo, I see your hand.
I was just going to say that another option for people to do when they're especially doing events is that you can make it sticky or an article.
Yeah, as far as sticky and the front page, that is disconnected now since we have this front page functionality.
Oh,
So you'll see that, let's see, before there was the option to make sticky here on the front page, but now that is what we call highlight and unhighlight. But when it comes to sticky, the other lists that are, I guess, affected or included by that. Let's see, do I have a list of this? Here we go. On this documentation I had shared with the office hours announcement, the slideshow is one place where sticky definitely works. The events on the calendar, the members only list. Let me actually get this out of the way, sorry. So members only list, action alerts, articles, positions, all of those lists with the exception of the homepage, because the homepage now is like is explained down here. It uses highlight and unhighlight there. But for sticky, I don't have any events here. Let's see. So here we go. This is my articles page where it lists every single article from my league. And you can tell I have 2 of them which look highlighted because, again, highlight and sticky are sister functions, let's say. So they pretty much do the same thing, but they are used in different parts of our site. So sticky, like the documentation says, you can use it on like your list of articles, your list of events, positions, members only, slideshow. The sticky, like the highlight, gives you that box, but it also gives priority to that item in whichever list it's in. And so, yeah, it is very similar to highlight, but sticky no longer affects the home page. So if you make this article sticky and you promote it to the home page, you would need to highlight it as well if you wanted to see the box around it on the home page.
could you repeat that, what you just said?
So actually, let's test it. If we promote this article, which I don't think, yeah, I don't have it promoted yet. So let's go ahead and promote this test article, which we can see is already sticky on this list. And Sandy, please keep your hand up. We'll move on to your question next.
Well, you said sticky, but it's not the first one. When I say sticky, I mean it's at the top.
So I had 2 items sticky. Remember that if you make more than one item sticky, you're making a new
I
list.
understand what you're saying, and I have the custom, but in my mind, sticky means, okay, it could be 2 items, I guess. But what I do is, you know, when I'm creating the event, there's a box where it says go to front page, and it also says make it sticky.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
So yes, and that's what I'm explaining. So the
Okay,
sticky
sorry.
and the promoted to front page are definitely options, but the sticky will not show up on the front page. So let's save that. I have it promoted to the front page and sticky. We obviously see that it's still sticky here in the articles list, but when I go to the home page, it does not have the sticky look because highlight is what you need to use here. Does that make sense?
Well, okay, again, going to how I do it. So I guess the only way I'm going to get it at the top is just by using the option that you showed earlier about, you know, moving the stuff up.
And yeah, this is specifically for the front page.
Just paying attention. Well, that's what I meant.
Right.
Moving it to the top on the front page and just paying attention to that whenever I'm entering something new.
Yeah, yep.
Not going to stay there. I mean, well,
unless like right now I don't have a custom order saved. So yeah, it did move the test article up the list. But if I had it set up like how you're saying where I do have a custom order saved, let's just move these around a bit. So I saved that order. Let's go back. And then making this highlighted, we'll see that it just stays in the same position, but it now is outlined. And we can test the same thing with that other article or another article there. So same thing I did earlier. I'm just going to go to a new draft so that I can promote it to the front page and we can see what it looks like when it drops in into that list. I'm scrolling down to the bottom real quick. Whoops. Okay, promoted that. Let's publish it so we can see it immediately. Okay, now jumping over to the home page. That was donate. And so although the submitted date is 2019, it is old, but it technically is newer than a couple of these. But typically the natural order would take over if I didn't have a custom order saved, and the donate would have dropped somewhere higher up the list. But because there is a custom order saved, it does just drop in at the bottom. And then like Mary Jo said, you just go in and you rearrange it to where you need it to be. And so if we needed that at the very top, then we go in, save our custom order again. And then if you needed, you know, highlight additionally, but that would be the process. If you have a custom order saved and you're continuing to keep that order and you promote additional items, it just means you have to move them yourself because they'll always come in at the bottom. All right, Sandy.
Okay, I know we're not really talking about slideshow, but since you brought up sticky,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question
For sure.
about the sticky slideshow.
Go for it.
So I had tried I had 3 slideshow items that I wanted to appear in a certain order, okay, because they were date related. So there were 3 events that I wanted to highlight on the slideshow. 3 not events, but actually information. So I figured if I published them, submitted them in reverse order, and made each one of them sticky, then the newest one that I submitted should have been first, right? It didn't work that way. It kept pushing. It just never came out the order. So I don't know if it had too many stickies, but I could not. And I actually I unpublished them, tried to do it again, and it kept putting the one not in the right order. So I don't know if there's something to having too many stickies on the slideshow.
Well, as far as having many items sticky, it just essentially makes a new list, and it's still going to follow the same order of whatever is freshest goes to the top. But it should still keep the order. So that's what I'm finding funny. It wasn't a 1, 2, 3 or a 3, 2, 1. It was out of order.
Yeah, of when I submitted them and made them sticky. Yeah, it was weird. So I don't know. And after a while, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm just kidding.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, can you make more than one sticky?
Yes.
Because I thought you had to go through and change the dates and stuff to make sure, like, if one came in second or one came in third.
So that's the other way to do it too. So as Sandy said, she uploaded them in technically reverse order, and that is what I would, recommend to start off with, because that'll make your job easier. But then, like Mary Jo, you're saying, you can then go in and change the creation date if you really needed to have the ultimate control. But because Sandy, you said you uploaded them in a certain order, I think that the creation date would be in the order that you would need it to be, but you can play around with that. Let me show you where that is if you need.
Thanks.
So let's go to manage content. And I'll just narrow down my list to slideshow items. All right, so let's see. The helpful thing here is that we do get the created date in the manage content list. So this might be an easy way to like figure out which order you need to put them in. So let's make this one. So it looks like I had a difference of 1 minute here. Voting help for everyone is at the top. Vote 411 is 1 minute prior to that. Obviously, I could make it sticky, and that would be the quickest way to get this vote 411 slideshow item to the top. But we're just, for the example, we're going to go through the creation date change. So I clicked edit. We're going down all the way to the bottom. Whoops. Authoring information is what we want to open up. So either change the date, change the time. I'll just make it 1 day, ahead so that it is definitely a fresher item than the other slideshow item. And then I publish. And so this method of changing the creation date, because again, this is just one that I'm changing. I definitely could just make it sticky and save myself from this. But this creation date change is super helpful if you have multiple that you're trying to juggle. And as you're saying, Sandy, sticky was just not working as you wanted it to. So see if playing around with the creation date helps in that situation.
I didn't know that you could change the creation date. So that is very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, Mike, I usually try to stay away from sticky because I just can't control it as well. So I'll go to, to the manage page. I'll just sort things the way I want them. It's faster and easier for me.
Yeah, definitely on the manage front page items. And it's much easier to manage if you are okay with keeping a custom order.
I didn't know the creation date trick, but if I have to, I'm gonna use that for the same reason. It's just easier.
So maybe we can put in a request that we could have more control of the order of the slideshow. Like you could go in like you do to the manage front page and actually move the slideshow items around. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I can definitely take that request down.
I think we've requested that before, but because it's been, it's the same thing. When they
It's a
added
large
the,
project, so yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
isn't an easy endeavor, but it's definitely worth noting.
well, when you added the moving of the front page, that was like, hallelujah, because we were all trying to mess with those creation dates and it's driving us nuts.
Yeah, definitely understand. As far as, let's see what else on the front page in publishing and sticky. I feel like we've kind of covered it for the most part. I guess the only other thing to point out is that in manage content, we have the list, if you have your type set to any and all that, this is your full list of content and you can promote items from here or make them sticky from here, right? So promoting, and actually these are already promoted, so let's just throw in a couple others. All right, so promote those 3 to the front page. And then same thing, I could have made them sticky from here since that's an option. But that's nice and easy if you have, the pages or whatever the content is already created. You can just check those boxes off and now they are added to your front page. Any questions? And we can jump into not front page or publishing options. Sandy.
This is not a front page thing.
Go for it.
I remember several months ago, probably more than that, we did go over briefly how to link a document that's on your Google Drive. You make it public, I guess, and then that way you can link it onto your website.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do that because our voter newsletter this month or this quarter, I'm sorry, has a ton of pictures and the PDF is too big. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the documentation, and what I got confused about is that I thought I could just make public that file, but it sounds like I have to make a whole folder.
No, you can just keep it to that file.
Oh, I can? Okay, that didn't, I wasn't able to follow that. So I was hoping you could just briefly go over how that works.
Yeah, let me pull up a file over here.
Because that would be helpful too for like slide decks and things like that that are always way too big.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a document here. Okay. Sorry. So let's just work with this old office hours wrap up doc that I have. Okay. So the first thing will be to make sure that it's public. When you click share, it's by default, they're always restricted. So you set it up, anyone with the link. And then this is up to you if you want them to just view it, comment on it, or be able to edit it. But I would imagine in this case, viewing is probably the recommended there. You could go as simple as copying the link. And actually, sorry, I think you're talking about a PDF, right? It wouldn't be an actual Google Doc.
Correct.
Okay, so let me see if I have, sorry, a PDF example. Yes, I do. Because that is a bit different.
Oh, okay.
It is the same process to make sure that it's public. So same thing, going over to the share button, making sure that anyone with the link is at least a viewer. So that's one way, copying the link, and then you can put hyperlink whatever text or hyperlink an image in MyLO. That's one way of doing it. The other way, let's see if I can remember. On the three dots for more actions, there's embed item as an option. So you could embed the document and kind of allow it would allow the person who's viewing it to view it within MyLO. It didn't copy, so copy that. And then let's come on back. We'll just put it in the home page for now. So it's embed code. I already have this in HTML. Just make sure you switch yours if you don't already. And let's go ahead and see what that looks like. There we go. So it's pretty simple. It doesn't, I thought that it might have like the Google logo or something, but it does allow them to pop it out and essentially view it on Google Drive here.
Oh, okay. So the other way, which is the link, instead of the embed, the link would just be putting in, like I normally have a list of our voter newsletters by quarter, and then I just have the hyperlink to the
Yeah.
PDF file.
Yeah, you would go
So
through
I-
that step of just copying the link and then, yeah,
Okay.
whatever the next line is, highlight that or, hyperlink that.
So just so I'm clear, because I get confused with Google Drive. So they're only able to see that file.
Right.
You're not able to see anything else in the folder that it's sitting in or anything else, just that file.
Correct. And I'll test it out with a guest browser where I'm actually not logged in. So this is the same link that I copied.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I see. I mean, even if I was signed in to a different account, it doesn't allow me to further, look further into files or anything. If I click open, it's just opening the file again.
Okay. I kind of like the embed code because it shows up as like the documents there. I like that. Very helpful because I think I might change how I'm posting my newsletters.
But how big does it show up? If it's a huge document, you wouldn't want it embedded.
Well, this is the default size that it comes in.
Oh, it always comes that size. Okay.
You can change it like how we've previously in the past changed like a YouTube video's width. You could change that to 100% if you wanted or whatever other percentage. But this is just the default dimensions it comes in.
I like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Maria.
Okay, I'm just unmuting myself. Is that a good way to publish newsletters? And would it work with archiving? As opposed to, I think I asked you that question and you sent me, and I was looking at building a library. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so when it comes to the media library that's built into MyLO, you definitely can use it as your archive of newsletters or whatever documents you are using within your site. The only limitations are that the file size is 2 megabytes per file, and then you can only upload one file at a time. There's no limit as to how many, but I guess the draws to Google Drive are that you can upload multiple files at a time, and I don't believe they have a file limit per file. So that is a really easy way to get your files up and online. And we also have this documentation, I'll drop it in the chat, where we talk about using Google Drive as a way to archive. One of the cool things, and I don't know if we have an example, we might not, but we saw how you can embed an individual Google Doc or Google, item. You can also embed a list of files from Google. So let's say in your Google Drive, you share an entire folder. And this is, I think, what Sandy was talking about, where you can share a single file, but you can also share an entire folder where, let's say, the folder is nothing but newsletter PDFs. You can then embed that list in your MyLO site, and then that allows folks to be able to see, every single document within that folder and be able to click to it as I do here.
Can we do that?
To show an example?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about the order.
Let me see. I think I do have
So,
a folder.
just for clarification, you can have in Google Drive, let's say, a file called newsletter 2023, and you can put in, save all your PDF in that file. So
Oh,
someone would click on that file that you share, and then they'll be able to see all of the newsletters.
You're
And they
using
can-
the word file. I think you mean folder.
Yeah,
I
adding
mean
those files to the
folder, but
folder.
that each newsletter is a file.
Correct. And so let's say you have 10 files within that folder. You share the folder, that means that once you share the folder, you've shared all 10 files within, or how many ever files
Right.
in the future are added to that folder. Yeah, so it cuts down on your administrative time. If you're sharing every single file, that's definitely going to take more time. But if you're just adding them to a shared folder, then you only have to essentially share it once, and then every file you add into that shared folder is automatically shared.
So and I am so sorry to ask you to do this, but can you just quickly go on how I
can
would
show an
do that?
example. Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you.
For sure. I have this folder here. It has one PDF and one image. Hopefully it still works for the example. So it looks like I already have it shared, but if you didn't have it shared, the icon, let me show again what that icon is. That little icon there. So looks like a person standing behind a person.
Right, the share
Yeah, and
icon.
so it was, by default, it would have been restricted. I already had this shared to anyone with a link. So we have that set up already. I have to refresh my memory on how to. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly Google over here.
You'd be able to just highlight the URL up there and paste it in there.
But that's not going to embed it if we just have a URLs only. So let's see. Okay, looks like I found maybe some old HTML, and I will definitely make sure this is available, in our documentation. So I found this. Maybe let me actually pull all of it. So it looks like they're recommending different embed code depending on the type of view we want. And the only thing we have to replace is, everything within the source except for the hashtag list or hashtag grid. So yes, as Mike said, we do need to copy that URL. Go back over here, copy link, but we just have to plug it in to this HTML, and then we'll embed this. So I'm copying my HTML. Let's just go with the home page again here.
So is that the file that you're copying, the link that you're copying?
I copied
I'm a little lost.
So this is the folder that I'm looking at.
Right.
I copied the link to the folder.
Okay, got it.
And then, so I have my embed code copied with that link. Again, I'm just going to use this area. All right. Oh no. I do recall that we had documentation maybe similar. I might have to sit on this one and find the right instructions for this, because hopefully it's not a deprecated thing.
Do these have to be PDFs or can they be Word documents? What's the
I
limitation?
think it should be fine. As far as whatever type of file you have in your folder, I don't think that should matter. The fact that it's not even loading at all just makes me think that whatever I was using is just maybe not something that Google still uses.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that is relevant. I just wondered in general.
Oh, gotcha.
No, you're-
Yeah,
you're
no, I
sharing the
think it should be
folder.
okay.
You're sharing the folder, so you should be able to see whatever content is in that folder.
But I'm worried about, if I don't have Microsoft Word and the thing I shoved up there was Microsoft Word. I mean, if my user didn't have Microsoft Word and it was a Microsoft Word document in that folder, would they be any issue with displaying it?
When I do that, I get an error saying, do you want to purchase Microsoft Word?
So
They'll display it, but when you click on it to open it, that's when it gives you you haven't purchased one.
So you probably are better off putting PDF files.
I try to do that for that reason, yes. Also, we don't want people editing it by mistake, but I know you can
Okay.
probably load it as or uneditable, but that's more work for me.
So I did find the documentation. We do have something on it. I'll drop this in the chat. Oops. Well, let's see if I can quickly review this and we can go over it. It looks like it might be similar steps to what we went over. All the first few sections of this documentation just talk about how to create a folder, how to turn on the link sharing, get the shareable link, just as we did. And then this is the iframe, which is similar to what we saw didn't work.
Well, it might have worked before, but they changed something.
Let's see. Well, I have an example of it down below, and so I'm not able to edit it while we're here in the meeting, but I'm going to test out at least what the documentation says. So I can at least, once we're done with the meeting, I can go in my admin account and I can edit this documentation and look at this exact part, because this is actually embedded from Google. You can see that it actually works. So I'll check that out to see if it's different, but we might as well test out what we have in the documentation. So I'm just going to paste in what I copied from the documentation. This obviously is not what we want to use by itself. It looks very similar. So I'm copying. Okay, sorry. And replace what's there. And then this is the title. Well, technically all of this. So we could say, let's just call it folder. But yeah, it looks exactly the same as what we see up there. The only difference is the title. I will double check what the documentation has since I'm seeing it come up there, but it's obviously not working for some reason here on this page. But yeah, this documentation, like I said, it's there, but I will provide further word on it once I can take a look at what is creating this list view and what's creating this grid view. Because it does work when I click through to it. I just don't have any files in this folder. Probably don't have any in this one either. Oh. But yeah, it's obviously working. I'm just not sure why whatever is recommended is not working. But keep an eye on the Google group for an update on that. hopefully it's not just an update that it's been deprecated. Any other questions or more questions about archiving? Definitely will be a helpful bit of information once I have an answer for the folder embed. Mary Jo.
Well, just I don't know if this is related at all, but there is a newsletter that comes out. It's a combination of League and also National Center for Civil Discourse. And they sent it, what used to be regularly every 2 weeks. And it would always be a different, each edition would have its own link. And I corresponded with the editor and I said, you know, I don't want to have to change this every time. Is there any way you can have a link that just goes to
like the most recent?
Well, the most recent, well, yeah. So basically, and I don't know if this has anything to do with Google, but what she did do that. And what happens when you click the link, you get a list of all the issues of the newsletter. And then I just look for the newest one. And it's wonderful because it has so much good information. Anyway, I don't know. I have no idea if that's Google. But I did want to say that on July 24th at 1:15, I added an entry or an event. And I went to, save it, publish it. And I got an access denied message. And I have no idea why. I don't know, maybe I clicked something. I have no idea. So, and I got that screen, so I logged back in and then had to recreate the whole event. But I don't know, I just sharing that. I have no idea if that means anything.
Was there a break in between that you took, or were you?
Yeah, so anyway, no big deal. I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah. We shouldn't be seeing any logout issue anymore. So that's what it's possibly sounding like if it gave you the access denied page.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I touched anything, but maybe I did accidentally.
No, I've taken a note of that. Okay, thank you, Mary Jo. Anybody have any other questions? Let's see if I've gotten any recent questions here. I've gotten a lot of PayPal questions, not really relevant to MyLO. Let's see. Why don't we go over, I guess, a bit more. I don't know if we want to go over any more of the front page. I feel like that has been covered. Yeah,
I have a question. This is Maria. In the slide show, is there a way of getting rid of the white band that I guess
yeah.
I touching something, no?
Unfortunately not. You can make it smaller by just simply giving it a title.
I don't know how. This is my thing. When I am publishing, sometimes I don't know how to get where does it come from, the title? Because I do have a title, but I can't remember where it is. Like when I want to change it.
Oh yeah.
Where would I go?
Let's go ahead and use one of my slideshow items here as an example. Test slide 070101 is what I'll look for. So that's the title. And that's what I'll want to look for when I'm going to manage content. Actually, I'll just copy it to make easier on myself. So I go over to manage content and let's just search by that title. The other thing too, if you wanted to just look at all of your slideshow items, you could just choose the type and not fill in the title. But since we're
Mhm.
looking for one specific one, I pull it up that way. We
Right.
can go ahead and edit from here. The other thing too is if you wanted to click through to look at it first, make sure it is the right one, then you can go to new draft.
Mhm.
And it's right here. So where you see the title bigger, it's
Uh-huh.
right underneath where you want to make the change. So
I got it.
make that change. And then for this slideshow item, I have a link, which I'm going to remove. And I also have a caption. So it makes that white band much taller, much longer. So I'm removing that. So we simply have just the title. Let's just make it sticky to see it at the top there. So let's go back home. And now new slide name
I
is all we
see.
see in that white band.
Perfect. I mean, I'd rather not have it sometimes, but okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, Maurice, when you said make it smaller,
Smaller as far as the white part.
well, how, okay, so I only always use a title. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll have a link, but I don't understand how that makes it smaller, but
So
guess
when you add the link,
obvious.
the white part, the white band grows taller, right? Because it's trying to contain everything that you're adding. So
Oh,
that's
you mean if it goes beyond one line?
just the fact that you have more than the title, because the title takes up at least one line.
Yeah.
Then if you have a link, that would take up an additional
Well, of
line if you
course.
have the caption. Yeah, so
Well, of
that's just
course,
making
of
the
course.
white band smaller. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, well, I guess I don't know why you say smaller when it's sort of defaults, I would think, to one line, but I get it. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, just the comparing like this white band
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
to that one. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
difference I was talking about in smaller.
Yeah, I guess mine is always that way, but yours looks a little smaller, but maybe I'm just crazy.
But yeah, those are the differences. And if you use, the title, the caption, and the link, that's what it looks like. But the size of the text should
That's what I
all
meant.
be the same. Yeah,
Okay,
that should
all
all be the same.
right. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Hmm.
Well, I might as well point this out. So I had seen, and I should do my due diligence to respond, but I saw in the Facebook, the Facebook group, the LWV New Media group, there was a question about how someone should promote their Google Translate tool on their website. And so I created a few images.
I like that.
Just so that it can be like rather obvious to folks. So this is one. Let me show you my other site. And this is another. But if you look under files, oops, sorry, I'm scrolling around a bit. So if you look under the files, and I shared it to everybody. So if you're looking here in view all files, or if you're intending to actually add it into your content, you'll look for Google_translate. It should pull up the 3 options. And the difference is with the red ones, there's a serif font, just meaning like the fancy looking characters. And then there's a sans serif font where the letters are just flush. And then there's a purple version. So I thought might as well create a simple image because that, I think before, and what the person in the Facebook group was showing is that they were using just like text that said switch your language and then arrows pointing down. And so that is unfortunately not as eye-catching. We were trying to work with whatever text and, you know, formatting we have. But now we have these images as an option. And so I will make sure I drop that to that person in the group. I might as well promote that group if y'all aren't already familiar with it. So I think it's new media group. Do I have to put LWV? Okay, League of Women Voters, new media. So let's see if I can post the link to this group. I think it's a private group, but you can request. Okay, and I just saw a question. Yeah, well, I'll jump back to Margaret's question. I don't know if she's still here, but yes, I see that she's here. Oops. The Facebook group, like I said, it's one that you would request to be a part of. And folks are posting things all the time, not just questions, but sometimes sharing resources. I love when they'll share like a Canva resource because they're just like, you know, edit it for your league. And that's just gold to have content already created. So yeah, definitely take a look if you aren't already a part of it. The question from Margaret was about slideshow items or the photos in our slideshow here. I believe this one, voting help for everyone, is under Vote 411, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that there are a number of them that I created. Let's go over to view all files. And so obviously Vote 411 is kind of a common phrase for us. So you can further narrow it down to be image, and then the media tag should be slideshow item or image. So let's see. There we go. So there's obviously others that are the logo. But if I zoom back in, then we can see that the rest of them are the style, like similar to that style of the slideshow item that I had. So voting help for everyone might be a better way to search for it. But I can drop this in. If you're looking to make use of these Vote 411 slideshow images, definitely go for it. Yeah, they're there so that you can use them. I think I just threw them in as a demo, but definitely they're available for everybody to use. Mary Jo.
Well, I'm just curious, are we allowed to do that with Vote 411? I thought they were pretty strict about using it. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
I am not sure.
I don't think they're that strict. I mean, there's a whole
They're
page devoted an LWV.
Well, that's different if they've created it, but I meant other, yeah, to me, that's
creating
official.
it our own.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have not read their brand standards to that degree. From what
I love that. Yeah.
From what I have assumed, it is similar brand standards to our logo, but I'm not an expert or super sure on that.
It is. It is.
I know that our logo brand standards are quite strict on the colors we could use and the background colors and all that.
Right.
So I would think something similar for Vote 411, but I don't know if there's further restrictions on like the type of image it should be or if it should only come from them. There is a library of stuff, I believe. I might have to go directly to their website. In the National League's league management site, I'm pretty sure not just the brand standards, they have quite a bit of material. Oops. So I'm just searching Vote 411. They have quite a lot. Messaging resources sounds like this would be, you know, where you would find stuff that they already have created. So they do have graphic and sample posts, and it looks like a Canva template. And then the logo and brand standards. Let's see what their graphics and sample posts look like. Awesome. So it's zip files. And they're already kind of separated for whichever channel. And it gives you the text too. So if you are making posts on social media.
But it probably doesn't have slideshow format.
Yeah, I don't think it would have slideshow format. You
It's
could
really
take
hit or
you could
miss.
take what they have and then, you know, rework it in Canva from there. Sometimes depending on the picture itself, the original picture, you might be able to like fill in the background and it looks pretty okay. So that it then fits the dimensions of 800 by 400. So it may not be, yeah, it definitely won't be exactly to the measurements we need for slideshow. But depending on the images, you might be able to rework them if you were looking to keep it official there.
But some of them are, you know, usually I go to Facebook to see what they've got, and you know, sometimes they're fine. If they're not, and if it doesn't fit, I don't use it. But clearly I've been able to use, you know, several.
Yeah, I would say Facebook and maybe even more Twitter are probably comparable dimensions to our slideshow. So that might be why that they work a little bit more well. Like the Instagram would be a little bit harder because it's so square.
And on the topic of Facebook, so thank you for, I don't know if it was one of these, somebody sent the email a couple weeks ago about the person.
It was Sandy, yeah.
Yeah, so I talked to our person and she said she had already communicated with National. I don't know that she used the same person or I don't know if I went to the same person, but I did email the woman who sent that originally, and she said it took about a month, I think she said, and that she just had to keep checking, you know, to see if it was
because
working.
their page was taken, their Facebook page was taken down.
Yeah, ours is down, and it says it's that same. And now I realize the connection. It's that message where it says something about the content has been taken down or something like that. And I always thought, somebody had posted something, and then they thought, oh, I shouldn't have posted that, and they took it back. That's what I always thought it was. But now it looks like maybe it's, you know, it's higher up. Facebook is just, you know, this is not using this Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah, it is definitely, if you're looking at your page and all you're seeing is the content is not available or whatever, like you said, that message is, it is unfortunately a thing from Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, we unfortunately get caught often as a league in that kind of stuff because we're political, but we at least have a bit of a lifeline, maybe not a lifeline, but like help once they already are taking us down.
You would think, and maybe they're trying to do this, how do I know? But you would think at a national level, you know, however many local leagues there are, that's how many Facebooks there are at least, that they'd be talking to Facebook, you know, on a high level, say, hey, stop and desist. We're all about democracy.
Yeah, but Vote 411 is having problems too.
Oh.
Yeah, when things are sent out, some people are saying they're spam, and so that's getting blocked as well. So I mean, it's just.
Well, that may have to do, as you know, you and I know, with Constant Contact, because you know, they want you to change something.
No, it's
okay.
Megan Brown has specifically requested that people not, you know, say it's junk.
Oh, right, because that could change the rating of
That
the
changed the
domain.
ratings, and that's affecting the domain.
Wait, I'm confused. What do you mean save it to junk?
if
mean,
people,
Don't call it junk.
yeah,
well, wait a
Don't
minute.
call it spam.
Well, it's not spam, it's misdirected because well, to me, the email line.
No, people are being blocked from vote 411 because they called an
Oh.
email from vote 411 spam.
You mean, oh, because they were getting too many or something, or
Something, yeah.
oh, well then okay, that makes sense though, doesn't it?
No.
Well, if somebody, if I say, I don't want to get this anymore, I'm calling it junk, instead of deleting it, that's on me, isn't it? What am I
But
missing?
if a lot of people are doing it, it starts. Help me out here a minute.
So what you're saying is it's a plea to league members, at least, don't do that. Just delete
Right.
it. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
just, yeah, because just generally with email inboxes.
Unsubscribe.
Right. That's definitely what folks recommend because yeah, if you are calling it junk or spam within your inbox, yes, it's for you, but it is also reflecting back on that domain.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have another question. I don't use Canva, but one of our young people made a whole lot of great graphics in Adobe Illustrator, and then somebody else wants them, and but she only uses Canva. Can you save a vector version, a PDF version from Illustrator? You can do that, I know, but can you import that to Canva and still keep the vector properties rather than have it just be an image?
I have not tested that myself. My gut instinct makes me think no, because I would assume Canva would just keep it simple. You might have to try a different service, but let's just see Canva and vector files. Gives us information about how to download a vector file. It seems like there is a documentation here about importing Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop files. Let me drop this to you in the chat.
But I don't know that it won't make it an image, you know?
Yeah, that I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I found that somebody was, there was communication within our league on this, and I sent them a link like this. I didn't explore it. I thought you might know off the top of your head.
No, but I would say check out this what to expect section. It does seem like this would go into what happens after you upload it.
Great. Yeah, great. Thanks.